Terminator. It's clear of the Terminator now, but it just really jumps out because it's still got the low light, the low sun angle. And so where the, Vavilov has that impact over the top of another crater, where the two craters intersect on the eastern edge. So on the side closest to Oriental, where the two crater rings intersect, the shadow there is the highest peak in the interior of Vavilov, and so you can see that terrain is there's some real variation in the terrain there. That there's a nice peak where those peaks intersect. Where those rings intersect, and we'll get a picture of that.
Love the description, Victor, especially the comparison and relationships you just described about topography. And if it's easier for your observations, do feel free to remove the T-shirt shroud from window 1.
Yeah, absolutely, we will do. Thank you.
Those calls coming from NASA astronaut Victor Glover. As we discussed, the crew is working in pairs at the windows. Right now, taking photos are Commander Reed Wiseman and Mission Specialist Jeremy Hansen. Serving as their support team are pilot Victor Glover and Mission Specialist Christina Cook. You're hearing those calls from Victor Glover as he is on that support team, and he is tasked with providing the science sit reps, while the two crew photographing and making annotations of the moon are in Windows 2 and 3. Windows 1 and 4 are available for the support crew to fly up to, obviously look at the moon themselves, and provide these science situational reports. The view on your screen is part of the lunar targeting package, and it's something that the crew can reference as they are flying by, but this is an animation. You also heard Glover mention Oriental. Oriental is a major feature that the team is interested in today, and it's known as the Grand Canyon of the Moon. Until this mission, the Oriental Basin had never been seen in sunlight by human eyes. Oriental Basin and its surrounding ejecta could fit within a straight line distance from NASA's Johnson Space Center, where we are at today, to Kennedy Space Center. This a live view in Artemis Mission Control in Houston, Texas, where the teams are monitoring all systems, not just for today's flyby, but on the spacecraft themselves. Again, this is a test flight, our very first flight of humans on the Orion spacecraft. This team has been This team has been monitoring the entire time of the mission, as well as we have been live the entirety of the mission, and we will be continuing to do so all the way through splashdown and crew recovery from the Pacific. This is a visualization from ARROW, the Artemis Real-Time Orbit website that you can also access at any time by visiting nasa.gov/trackartemis, showing us that we are now under 10,000 miles from the moon, 9,948 to be specific, and continuing to count down. Again, our closest approach to the moon today should come about 6:02 p.m. Central, 7:02 p.m. Eastern. However, we will be out of contact with the crew at this time as they begin transiting behind the moon. At that time of closest approach, the distance from Orion to the lunar surface will be about 4,070 miles. Of course, these are estimates at this time, and we'll be sure to provide you with the official numbers once that closest approach has been reached. This shot live inside the Orion spacecraft, where our 4 crew members are continuing with their lunar flyby activities. They have just begun those activities really about 20 minutes ago, so we've got several hours of moon view opportunities. This is still a live view inside that capsule. However, you can see just how dark they have turned down the lights. Actually, they've turned them all the way off. There are a few LEDs that they cannot power off, but turning down these lights gives them better views outside of the spacecraft's windows while they photograph the moon. This also prevents any reflections from inside the spacecraft bouncing up on the windows and interfering with their photography.